Hello and welcome to this episode of the Blog Chronicles. I am your host, Matthew Loomis, and today we're going to spend some time talking about what's called personal branding and explore what this means for you, the blogger. What is personal branding? Do you need it? How do you get it? I'm going to call Andrea Beltrami to help us find some answers because Andrea is all about personal branding. Not only has she developed a strong personal brand for herself, she also helps solopreneurs, bloggers, and freelancers develop their own personal branding by focusing on their visual presentation. Andrea is a big advocate for putting thought and energy into your online visual display. She is a designer by trade and creates for clients website design, logos, and many other visual elements in both digital and print. Her mission, and this is found on her About Me page, is to help solo entrepreneurs like you and me create a vision for their voice. She goes on to say, I want to help you create visuals that convey your passion and purpose, your message, your mission, your voice. I want your visuals to propel your brand. She does this by working one-to-one with clients as a branding mentor. She offers a branding course for solopreneurs along with her design services. She's got a colorful personality, good sense of humor, and knows her stuff. So let's get to it and welcome Dre to the Blog Chronicles. But first, a heads up. Dre is the first guest on this podcast to use R-rated language. So I'm just letting you know this up front. Keeping it real, you may want to put in earbuds depending on your situation. Now let's get to it. Hi Dre, welcome to the show.
What's up, Matthew? How the hell are you?
I be doing great.
Epic,
yes.
Throw out that word right at the beginning. Let's just get it out there. Epic.
Yeah, you are epic for sure. I get your emails, and man, your emails can be quite epic, I'll tell you.
Thank you. It's kind of funny when you just disassociate to something that you've been working on for so long, but you still identify as like really crappy at it. So the people that get my voice and enjoy it, it's always so cool when they give me kudos because I'm still back in the day when I was a marketing robot and I didn't know what my voice was. So it is like the best warm and fuzzies for me on the writing tip because I'm just not a writer.
Wow. Well, we're going to get into personal branding and
Yes.
and even finding your voice.
Yes, that's so huge. That's such a huge part of personal branding.
Awesome. Yeah, well, let's get right into it then because you are one of the best known people that I've seen out there as far as someone that focuses on personal branding and claims that their expertise is on personal branding. So I thought you'd be a great guest to have on the show to talk about this.
Sweet.
Let's start with personal branding. How do you define personal branding?
Honestly, personal branding. Okay, so us as solopreneurs, right, these brands are our heart and soul. Personal branding and branding at its core is everything that represents you, right? So for us as people, right, our interiors, like our house, how we decorate, right, the colors, what we wear, our personal style and fashion and all of that. So that's an extension of who we are, right? When we go to meet someone, we automatically judge them like what they're wearing, like what their style is when we go to their house, right? Well, that's what branding is. It's everything that you put out into the world that's going to represent your brand, right? So it's on the visual side, but it's also shows like this. It's also your voice. Like I said, that's so huge. It's every single piece. It's anything that you put out there that you allow people to judge and to base their impression on you. But it also goes, once they do, it's that recognition. It's knowing you a mile away. I mean, it's like your friends know you. Like they could just hear your voice or they could hear a catchphrase and all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, that's Dre, right? She says that all the time. It's the same kind of thing. So that's really what branding is. And the two foundations that branding is built on is consistency and clarity, right? So it's knowing exactly who you are in all of these areas and sticking to it.
Yeah. I would think if you are yourself, consistency would be much easier.
Right? And that's the whole, but it's a lot harder than it sounds. Like I mentioned earlier with the marketing robot. I mean, I branding is my bread and butter because it was
Hmm.
when shit clicked for me. It was like,
Hmm.
oh, that's what this is all like. This is the big bow that everything's wrapped in.
Hmm.
And it's like that thing that gives you permission to be you. It's actually counterintuitive to try and fit in with everyone and be vanilla and fit right into the crowd and not stand out like a sore thumb and all of these things that as society
Hmm.
and especially in kind of corporate environments that a lot of us have come from
Hmm.
are the bad, right? We're not supposed to have a personality. We're not supposed to be ourselves. We're not supposed to have all of these things. And really, as solopreneurs and personal branding, that's exactly what it is. It's pulling out everything that makes you, you, which we're not all the same. That's like the shit that makes us different. That's
Yeah,
what
right.
personal branding is about. And it takes some soul searching and it takes time to get that out.
Yeah, this is funny. I haven't done a lot of podcasts at this point, but you're the first guest I've had that like doesn't try to censor their language. This is
I know you probably should have told me that at the beginning. That's the only rule that I'll let people impose on me is the foul mouth because I totally have a trucker mouth and I try and hold it. But again, that's part of my voice. So, but I do
right,
usually ask the host, like, is it okay if like an S or an F bomb drop? Yeah,
right.
so feel free to beep those. I also like I take great pride in people filter me with a beep. Like for some reason that totally warms my heart. I'm like, oh, they beeped me. That's excellent.
We'll see. I'm not sure yet. I think I'm just going to let it go and just see how the audience responds to it.
Yeah, I could be your guinea pig
Yeah,
to
you're right.
see if it's okay. I would roll with it, and I'll curb them from now on. So we have one. We have a nice test case for you
Great. Well, thank you for being my experiment today.
anytime.
Um, so, Dre, getting back to this, and we're going to get into a lot of what you just mentioned, but when it comes to personal branding, how do you think personal branding is, or how important do you think it is to a blogger?
I think it's the foundation because it is about clarity. So it's like if you know your voice as a blogger, that's huge. I mean, how many blogs do we read that it's just regurgitated information off of Wikipedia and every other
Hmm.
blog? It's about the personality. It's about your writing style, right? I mean, five people can write about Instagram and only one resonates and it resonates because of how they write, because of how
Hmm.
they teach, because of how they approach the material. So and that's a huge part of branding. Same thing with our visuals. We gravitate towards things that we like looking at. So
Hmm.
branding is the secret sauce to standing out online. It is, I don't really care what niche you're in these days. It's saturated. I mean, it's the internet, for God's sake. Like, it's so saturated. The only way to stand out is through your branding, and that is through consistency and through being you, from the visuals to the voice to the approach to the way your business model, right? I mean, even business
Hmm.
models go to branding. It's like, who are you for? Who do you help? What is your style? Like we were talking about off air, whether it's about doing video like web shows or podcasts. And it's like there are
Hmm.
no rules. It's what's most comfortable for you, what's going to be the best representation for you. So it's huge.
Right, and I want to get into this at some point. I think this was down in my questions, but maybe I should just go ahead and ask you: where's the line between what you like and you want as the person with your personal brand versus what your audience likes and what they want?
Yeah, it can.
How do you find that
Yeah,
magic
it could be a
magic
fine
center?
line, right? Because here it has to start with you. And the foremost reason for that is that you want to attract like-minded people. So for me,
Hmm.
I come out of the gate with purposely, like the first sentence in my bio is like, I'm a sassy California girl whose favorite word, starts with an F and rhymes with tuck. It's like right out of the
Hmm.
gate because
Yeah.
I want people to like if you don't like this sassy trucker mouth sarcasm, out there street shooting, it
Hmm.
really doesn't matter how much I know, you're not going to want to learn from me. So
Mm-hmm.
I need to do things that are totally authentic and genuine to me so that I attract the right people that I love working with and that are genuinely going to like to work with me and be able to learn from me because they resonate with me. So it does have to start
Mm-hmm.
with you. But at the same time, you have to get clear about who you're starting to reach. So a lot of people that are more on the corporate side of who they're trying to reach, but they have these great personalities, have a little bit tougher time because they
Mm-hmm.
know that they have to reach out in this way that's a little bit more formulaic and a little bit more sterile, but they want to infuse their personality. So it is a juggling act. At the bottom, at the end of the day, you have to know who you're trying to reach, who it is that you want to work with, and who it is that needs you. And then you
Mm-hmm.
have to work around that based on who you are. And a lot of times, like you said at the beginning, like if you are who you are, it's just a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you start with who you are, like I said, like I'm sassy, I'm straight shooting, I deliver tough love, and I'm not that coddly, I'm gonna stroke your ego for ego's sake and that kind of thing. So for me, that's where I start with who I want to reach. I mean, in theory, right, I do branding for solopreneurs and for small businesses. I can, at the end of the day, help anybody. But that's not really
Mm-hmm.
true because my style is not going to resonate with them and my approach and my language and all of that stuff. So that's where I start. It's like, this is who I am. This is who I love to work with. And then you really dig deep on that and figure out, okay, what are the qualities that they are? And it's like, if you look at my community, it's a lot of women that are, little sassy pants. They may not speak exactly like me, but they love the straight shooting. They love that I'll say stuff that they are thinking, but they just don't have the
Mm-hmm.
nerve to say and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. So it does have to start with you because you can only be kind of as phony and as vanilla as you are for so long, and you're going to want to
Mm-hmm.
let little pieces out. And especially if you're working with clients one-on-one, there's only so many hours you can work with them before your personality and style and approach comes out. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
the balance, is making sure that who you're reaching is still going to resonate with who you are, but it's not about having to change who you are to be able to reach those people.
So everything that we see on your blog and on your blab shows and everything that you do, every content that you produce, is it all really you?
That's all me. Like that's what some people, it's like that's definitely a persona, you know what I mean? Like I have a softer side. But honestly,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that like if I go out, I'm the loud mouth, obnoxious, like the chick that new people are like, is she for real? And that's really who I am. I loved the shock. I love the reaction. So half the time when like I throw, foul words out there, I like the reaction of people like, "Oh my God, did you just say that?" Like, or the lectures, like, you have such great material. You don't need to throw those F-bombs in. And it's like, that really is me. I'm that rebel inside. I like to push envelopes. I like to push to see the line where it's like, oh, okay, that was the line. I just crossed it. So that's really
Mm-hmm.
me. I mean, and that's why it's so much easier for me now, and that's why I love branding, because it's like once I got it, and then
Mm-hmm.
once I gave myself permission to be unapologetically myself and not worry about the people I was going to alienate because they were going to hate me, I
Mm-hmm.
made leaps and bounds. Like it was just like, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, is that permission to be yourself, no matter who it is, whether you're really
Mm-hmm.
quiet and shy and it's like you feel like you have to be outgoing to get attention.
Right.
But no, that really is me. And I like we were talking about video and podcast. I like video because I do feel a little bit more like I can be me. And I think people can get a sense that you couldn't be that phony. Like I like the Blab show because it's like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't be that phony for 100 shows. Like I couldn't get on and be like, blah, blah, like act like a
Mm-hmm.
monkey and say dumb shit and do that kind of thing. I couldn't. And I
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand that it's not, I didn't manufacture this. This isn't like double personalities. Like the camera goes off and it probably just gets a lot sassier. Like that's the only thing I
Mm-hmm.
can say is like people think I'm a lot, but that's actually probably I filter for online.
You said that you reached a point where you got it when it comes to personal branding. How long did it take you? And how long do you think it normally takes people?
I think it takes a good year or two, to be honest. I mean, when you're starting from scratch, right? So a lot of people think I came out of the gate like, oh, you're so successful as a brand solopreneur. Well, I had three brands before that totally tanked, and they tanked for different reasons, but a lot of them had to do with branding and
Hmm.
consistency and clarity. Um, but I think it takes a long time because there's so many different pieces. You know what I mean? A lot of people think branding is just the visual side, but it's like you can have great visuals and be all over the place with your strategy and your voice and where you're showing up and all of the different areas of branding, and it's not going to do anything for you, right? So that great logo is not going to carry you very far if you don't have the other pieces. So I
Hmm.
think it naturally just takes a long time because there's a lot to learn. There's a lot that
Hmm.
goes into it, and there's a lot to figure out. And, then we have the other side of our business where we just have to deliver, right? So it's like if you're a freelancer, it's like you also need 7 hours of your day to get the work done. How
Right.
many hours do you have to learn about it? How many hours do you have to invest in creating the different things you need or researching the different things you need? So, and a lot of people don't even include it, and this is me, don't even get introduced or understand what branding is until they start, asking questions like, well, how do you stand out online? Well, how do people recognize you? Like, how do you get all that? And then you start hearing this buzzword branding, and then you start diving in. So I just
Hmm.
don't think on the solopreneur level that it's
Hmm.
something that we're aware of out of the gate. And a lot of people see it as a luxury. It's like, well, I'm going to get started and I can't invest in my branding until later. And that's why I do a lot of DIY stuff because I think that is just the worst thing in the world. I think branding should be at the forefront because, like I said, it's about consistency and clarity. And if you don't have those things in your business, it really doesn't, those are the two things that are going to carry you on and on and on.
Hmm. You do some personal branding coaching, is that right?
Yeah, so I call it mentoring because, of course,
Okay.
I like to
Yeah.
use different words. I call my webinars mini courses.
Hmm.
Yeah, and again, I do that because most of my clients, they need somebody to talk to them about their unique business, right? So it's again,
Hmm.
you can learn the foundation and the fundamentals of branding, but in so many areas, we get to this place where like it's like when you call an 800 number, like stop making me automate it, like talk into this answering machine, like just let me talk to a human being and talk to them about what my individual problem is that doesn't fall into these nice little pretty buckets that people have created. So I created my mentorship out of people just being like, can I just bend your ear for an hour? And it sort of grew from there.
Hmm.
And I tackle, any different piece of it. So sometimes it's like, they're DIYing their visual brand and they just need somebody who's gonna, critique their stuff and, head them in the right direction, tell them exactly like tweak this, move this, change this font out, that kind of stuff. And sometimes it's copyright and sometimes it's helping them find their voice. Sometimes it's helping them put a digital strategy together for marketing. But it's just a way to get people one-on-one attention about your brand because we are all different. Like I said, our formula is different. How we want to do things is different. Who we're reaching is different. And there's just not, I mean, it would be great at the end of the day. I could be like, here's a one size fits all solution. But
Right.
branding is such a personal thing that it can be really tough doing it alone. So as a solopreneur,
Right.
you need somebody that you can trust and somebody that gets you. And again,
Hmm.
that's where it comes in. Like I qualify my clients. These are the people I work with are people that love my style and appreciate it and learn from it. They don't resent the tough love or the straight shooting. Like they don't want sugarcoating. They want you to tell them exactly what you think needs to be done, and then they'll go do it.
Yeah. That person you just described, I, I would think that they could um, like you and like everything that you're doing and want to do what you're doing and to some degree, but they're introverted or
Oh yeah.
they're much more quiet or if you're working with a client that's introverted, how do you recommend that they find their personal brand?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, newsflash, mind blowing. I'm the biggest introvert in the world, right? So here's the thing. An introvert isn't shy. So when we
Now
talk
that's
about,
something, yeah, that's amazing.
yeah,
That's not
that's when I'm like, people are like, what do you mean you're introvert? I'm not shy by any means.
right. There is a difference.
There's
Yeah.
totally a difference, and that's a huge
Mm-hmm.
misconception that I didn't know for a long time because I'm like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
not introverted. I don't know what you guys are talking like. No, I'm totally introverted. People exhaust me, which is another reason why I want to work at home, right? Like, oh, I can go like 4 days without actually really having to interact with somebody. It's fantastic. So that
Yeah.
is, a lot of it is the mindset. A lot of it is mentality. A lot of it is helping them push through fears. Because here's what happens as introverts is that we're very internal. We're
Mm-hmm.
self-thinkers and we're critical and we have this inner voice that is louder than any other personality
Right.
type's voice, and we psych ourselves out and we convince ourselves of these totally illogical things that feel so real to us. So a lot of the work that I do a lot of times has more to do with mindset than logistics. It's like, so we'll cover the mindset, we'll get them over the humps, that the self-imposed crap that they've put on them,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll also get to the meat of what they really want. So not what you think you can get, what do you really want? And it's a lot of mindset. And I think that's one of the things that does separate me from a lot of the branding strategists and the branding ninjas out there is
Mm-hmm.
that I really tackle the mindset too, because that's been a huge struggle. And I think as solopreneurs, that's more than half the struggle. I think if we get out of our way, I think if we stop holding ourselves back, I think if we stop letting other people hold us back, that the
Mm-hmm.
logistics is a lot easier. It's like one, two, go create this email, go create that email, and then go create this product. It's like, that's actually not the hard part. It's getting out of your own way. It's believing that you can do this. It's doing it despite having, no reason to think you'll be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I tackle a lot of the mindset. Sometimes I'm like, I'm just a counselor. Like it's a lot less about branding and it is about
Yeah.
empowering. But like you said, that I think that's why a lot of people resonate with me because I can get on the phone and I can't tell you how many times it's like they get off the phone, they're just pumped. They're just stoked. They have hope
Yeah.
again. And I think, if you don't have the hope and you're doubting and you're fearing, it's like that it's so hard to get anything done.
So, how can a scared solopreneur out there find their voice? What are some things they can do?
Exercises. So I've got a couple exercises. So one is,
Mm-hmm.
and they sound funny, and a lot of video ninjas say this, but so a couple of them. One is that I like to just take a topic. So just like, like a funny story or something that happened to you. Like I went to the store and, like you had one of those bad days, right? Where like it just seemed like nothing happened, right? Right. So when we write that stuff, when we're totally disassociated with our voice and we write that stuff, you'll see how detached you are. You'll see how, formulaic and like sterile it is. And then go call your friend and record that and tell them the story, like in your actual voice, like with your cadence
Mm-hmm.
and your pauses and all that stuff and start to study that, like listen to it again. That's what I did so many things where I would, even if it was teaching something, like I would, I would start talking about mindset or I would start talking about what branding isn't and how misunderstood it is. And when I would write it, I
Mm-hmm.
would write it like, branding seems like it should be. It wasn't in my voice. It seemed like it was so detached and I was writing this like very vanilla thing. And then I would call my friend and I would just rant. And
Mm-hmm.
it would be like, oh, well, I use this word a lot. I use that word a lot. And that's why like we started with epic. It's like I genuinely use that. I just like I
Mm-hmm.
said, genuine. I say genuinely and literally like all the time. I'm a Cali girl, so I say like.
Mm-hmm.
So you listen to the words that you actually use because when you're writing at like an education level or at a corporate level,
Yeah.
you sanitize it down. When you
Right.
talk, when you write how you talk, it's like it's worlds different. And that means that, really, really proper punctuation may go out. I mean, if you get my emails, like the dot dot, I'm famous for the dot 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 because I'm a
Mm-hmm.
rambler and my thought's never quite done or you think it's done and I'm like, oh no. I also have like a lot of inner monologue that I'm like, like I'll put in quotes like she says with the snicker. And that kind of thing. So it's about becoming aware of how you really talk. That's the secret. I mean, when you
Hmm.
see really good marketing, even like Apple or Mac or Microsoft, and when you see those ads, but you're like, damn, so it's like that's a big brand, but they got it, but they nailed it. It's like that's the
Hmm.
slang that we're using, or that's the trend that's going on. And that's when you see really funny commercials. It's like they tapped in to what people are actually doing and saying. And that's
Yeah.
the power of your voice. It's really using the real one and kind of letting all that stuff we've been taught through school and through our training,
Hmm.
on the job training, and you kind of got to dump it and start over.
Who are some of your favorite personal brands, and tell us why?
I love Ashley from Middle Finger Project. She is fantastic. I love Melissa Griffin from Nectar Collective. She's fantastic. Marie Forleo. I mean, I feel like Marie Forleo just kind of pioneered for the
Mm-hmm.
woman soul opener. I mean, she has a huge team now, and
Yeah.
we can't even, it's apples to oranges now, but the girl's in touch with herself. And the girl,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
is her. And she gave a lot of us women that were not so formal hope. So I absolutely
Mm-hmm.
adore her. I like anyone that's on the sassy side. Shocking, I know. Because I think that's a scary, it was scary for me to see those people go out and do it and be successful was really empowering for me. So I follow a lot of the ones that are the bearded iris. Like she's a mommy blogger, right? And I'm not even a
Hmm.
mommy. And
Mm-hmm.
I read her stuff all the time because it was like, again, it was like, oh, there's all these mommy bloggers. Everything's so great. And their children are these little angels. And
Right.
the bearded iris came out and just like she calls her son Buckethead and she writes these hilarious stories and she shares these like just hilarious TMI stories, but again,
Mm-hmm.
because that empowers me, because I still to this day get, insecure where I was like, oh my God, did I go too much? Or, I'm putting a new email course together and it's
Mm-hmm.
it's not the traditional formulaic, like it's kind of out there.
Hmm.
And it took me a while to get the nerve up to commit to it, to be like, yeah, if you're going to do this, just do it. And, so it's like I still have to go back to those people. Like I said, Ashley, to name her brand the Middle Finger Project, I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
you're brilliant. You're kick-ass. Like you're amazing to me.
That's definitely being yourself and not trying to appeal to everyone,
Yeah,
I
and
would
she's
say.
hugely successful. But you know what? She's not for
Yeah.
everyone. And I think
Right.
that's also something in branding is that you have to realize you're not for everyone. I don't care what you do. Like I said, I do branding. In theory, I could help everyone, but I can't. You always have to understand you can't help anyone. I mean, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to get real about that. And those people, like I said, the sassy brands that I named, that's why
Mm-hmm.
I adore them because I think they really embrace, like, this is who I am, take it or leave it. And I think there's
Hmm.
so much power because I think even at the end of the day, and this has been my experience, people will respect you for being you. They may not like you, but they will respect you for being you. And
Mm-hmm.
that goes a long way. I mean, I have a lot of blogger homies that, I mean, even you're like, I don't know if I'm going to keep the F word in there. Um, you know what I mean? But at least people will respect me. It's like, you're not going to hate me because I said that. It may not be your style and it may not be for your people, but you're not going to hate on my brand because you understand and respect that this is how I roll.
I do. Yeah, I do personally. But so you find that to be true in a lot of
I
cases? Have
find
you
that
ever?
to be really true. And to be honest, I don't get
Yeah.
that many haters where I see other people that aren't nearly as outspoken or kind of aggressive out there and they get more haters. And I just don't. And I don't think that I'm like so intimidating and scary. I think it's just like
Right.
I own it. It's like, what are you going to tell me that I care about? I don't care what you say. I don't care
Mm-hmm.
how you feel. If you don't like it, like tune out. I mean, in my first email, I kind of give a spiel of who I am and I say right there, like, if you don't like it, click unsubscribe and don't let the door hit you on the way out. I'm just very unapologetic
Yeah.
about it. So I don't really give them a platform that I care to hear. And so, yeah,
Right.
I have, and I've had quite a few people just go, I can't believe that you put that online, but I totally respect you because it's authentic to you. Like a lot of people would get crap for putting that online, but because that's your brand, that's who you are, I say kudos. So that has been my experience.
Yeah, so you're saucy, but you don't intentionally like try to attack people
No,
or hurt
exactly.
people.
I'm not
Yeah.
malicious. I'm not out there attacking anybody. I'm just being me. And if you don't like it, I genuinely don't give a shit. It's just that's it.
Right.
I'm not and also when I say I'm tough love and I'm straight shooting, I never want to degrade anyone. I never come from a place of breaking anyone. I come
Mm-hmm.
from a very empowered, motivated, and inspiring kind of place. I just have a certain style that I deliver it. And some people that's still too much. That's still too off-putting. But
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm unapologetic because I'm never mean or anything like that. I'm just very frank. And,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that you need to apologize for that. Like feelings are going to get hurt no matter what. And that's also just something I've dealt with in my whole life, right? I'm
Yeah,
not for
that's true.
everybody, right? But it's like, I can't
Yeah.
apologize for being me when like it wasn't personal. You just didn't like it. And that's just personal opinion. So get over it.
Great. Some of the most polite and sterile personal brands out there,
Yeah.
not just online, can be some of the most cruelest
Yeah.
people, you know?
Exactly. And you're seeing like how about all these times where these brands are super rude to people on social
Mm-hmm.
media and then who goes viral because they were super rude. People are like, oh my God, customer service at this place talked to you like that. Like, no,
Yeah.
I treat people with the utmost respect. And that's like you said, when people resonate towards me, I think that's it. They're like, how are you so real? But it's like, you're not rude. You're super empowering, but you
Mm-hmm.
just you just don't sugarcoat things. You just say it real. So, like I said, personal opinion is personal opinion. Everybody's entitled to it, but I'm not going to apologize for it. I'm just going to say like click off and get out.
Mm-hmm. Did you, or can you think of any examples of where you kind of crossed the line and you had some negative reaction?
Well, there's also okay. So one lady stole my blog post, right? Like an hour after I posted it, stole it and posted it on her blog. So now a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people would have. Okay, so what I did is I gave her 24 hours to take it down. I emailed her a very nasty gram. And I gave her 20 since she stole it in an hour. I'm like, that's pretty generous of me to give you 24 to take it off. And if you don't take it
Mm-hmm.
off, I'm going to blow you up on social media and I'm going to put you on blast. And, this is the way it's
Yeah.
going to go. Well, she didn't take it down, so I did. And there was definitely some pushback on that. People thought that that was unprofessional. I should have taken the higher road. And it was like, no, I just think we're in a social world. And like I said, I gave her 24 hours. And
Mm-hmm.
considering she was able to steal the content in an hour, that was 23 hours more than she deserved.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm happy to be like, I guess I didn't take the higher road. I don't see it that way, but it's like, I didn't apologize. I don't care if you didn't like it. Again, like don't read the post. It was like a 5 paragraph post. If you stayed to read the whole thing, then you're kind of a sucker. If you didn't like it, like you should have stopped reading.
Hmm.
So it's definitely, like I said, it's approach and I get it. The other thing is I have a picture on.
Wait. Before we move on, do you regret doing that?
No, I would do it again. If anybody steals my work, I'll do it again. Yep.
Okay.
I would.
Do you think it brings them more attention, which might, I don't know, ultimately get them what they want? Or
No, because the attention they're getting is negative. Like everybody that went to their site like left nasty messages and no, I
okay.
don't. And whatever attention they get is for that 5 seconds. You know what I mean? It's like if you
Right.
get 5,000 more visitors to your site this day, like A, that didn't put any money in your wallet. Um,
Right.
and B, it just gave you more negative exposure. And at our level, it's not like any exposure is good exposure. I think that's a total
Mm-hmm.
lie. So no. I
Okay.
may rethink it if it was some huge blogger, but a huge blogger wouldn't do that. Like I do have some friends that
Yeah.
had a pretty big blogger plagiarize something from like 4 or 5 different blogs I know.
Hmm.
And to be honest, I still would have done it with that person. Whereas all of them, they
Hmm.
chose to keep it private. So I'm sure there's a situation, like it's not totally black and white that I would do that to anyone. Um, but yeah, I feel like if you're gonna do it, then I have, and it's my stuff that you stole, then yeah. So I would totally do it again.
Dre, what are a few examples of positive responses to your branding that you've seen?
I get positive responses all the time for being who I am. Like people just really celebrating me for being unapologetic, in the face of, people who don't think that you should be able to say those things or do those things. I get positive feedback about how real I am and how raw I am. I share everything, like the good, the bad, and the ugly. So I get celebrated a lot for just being real. Like I'm the first one if I'm having an insecurity about something to admit it. I'm the first one to admit like my struggles with depression. I'm the first one to admit that I have raging
Hmm.
anxiety. Um, so I think that's been the best thing and so cathartic for me, to be able to share and get the response that it's like, we still actually think of you as like an expert and an influencer, like that word. I was like, oh, I made it to influencer status, but I've been able to do it by genuinely being me. Like I don't sugarcoat it. I don't pretend to be who I'm not. I'm just me. And the fact that so many have been able to embrace me
Hmm.
and learn from me and become such loyal brand ambassadors, to me, that's like the best compliment I could ever get.
So, in your opinion, does controversy help or hinder a personal brand?
I think it could go both ways. I think it depends what the controversy is. I mean, I think at some point, what was it, the restaurant what was it in Chicago this last week where they asked the police not to come in anymore? Like one of their ghetto attendants, they're in a really bad neighborhood, said that they were not going to eat here anymore if you let police eat here. And the owner went over and asked them to leave. And then the police department called them and said, we just want to make sure you're really saying you don't want police to eat here anymore. And it went viral.
Hmm.
No, I think those people are out of business. I think that restaurant is done. People, I mean, like
Hmm.
they got like 500,000 comments on their page about how I used to go here. I'm not going here anymore. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. So no, I don't think every controversy is good. I think you can sink your ship really easily in this viral world.
Hmm.
But I don't think it's a bad thing to push against the norm. I think that, that lower spectrum of that actually helps you stand out. I mean, I think if I was just really vanilla and sweet and I had those shiny white glossy graphics and I was really bubbly and that kind of thing, I don't think I would have gained as much traction as coming out of the gate with my darker colors and my sass and my foul mouth. And I think at a certain level it helps you stand out, but I don't think
Hmm.
controversy in general is a good thing. I think that you can go bad real quick.
Okay, well, I want to now shift to an article that Gary Vaynerchuk published several months ago,
Uh-huh.
and it was on Medium, and it was called "Stop Asking Me About Your Personal Brand and Start Doing Some Work."
Hmm.
And he talked about how before his YouTube channel, there's like 10 years of silence where you can't find any content from Gary. He said, what was I doing then? Working. So in the article, Gary is saying, put in the work first, become knowledgeable in something before you start focusing on quote unquote personal branding. Somebody else that I read then also has said, do the work and personal branding will take care of itself. I'm just curious, do you agree with that?
Well, I agree with it to a certain extent. I think what Gary's saying is, you can build a brand, but if you don't have an infrastructure behind it, and if you don't have the bones behind it, that it doesn't matter. I mean, it's the same thing, like I said, like you can develop the brand, but if you can't deliver on anything and you're flaky and you don't have a menu to really buy from, and you just become, even just a personality or like popularity, like the whole celebrity movement, that what's the point? So I agree in that sense, and I think that's what he meant. And I also
Mhm.
agree that you shouldn't let branding hold you back. Like that's another thing I see with a lot of my clients is that they want this perfect brand, right? They want everything evolved, they want everything defined, and then they'll go out and there's this expectation that then they'll be like just out of the gate successful. And I
Mhm.
don't think even if you did that with the best intention, I don't think if you got 20 experts involved to build your brand and spent $1 million, guess what? In a year, it's like you're going to evolve, you're going to find your voice, you're going to find your clients, and things are going to change. So I do not agree with trying to build everything and then launch. I think done is better than perfect, and I think it's all going to evolve. And like I said, I don't think the things come together for a year or two anyway. I don't
Yeah.
care. I mean, like the ones that you do see that you feel like they came out of the gate successful, I will almost 100% guarantee you that if you ask them, they had a couple brands before. And
Yeah.
that's where they learned everything. Every single one of them I've talked to has
Yeah.
had 5 to 7 brands before this. So it looks like they came out of the gate, but that's not reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm always telling people to do the same thing when it comes to blogging. Instead of preparing and trying to get everything great and perfect before you launch, you just need to start blogging. You
Yeah.
just need to go ahead and start.
Exactly. And there's this it's just natural for us to think like there's people in line waiting. Like nobody cares. You're gonna launch to
Yeah.
crickets. Like it takes momentum. It takes relationship building. It takes consistency out there. So it's like I don't really care who you are. It's just you're not really launching to anyone. So it's like get it out there. And when people come and then the other thing is I think we think there's policers out there, right? Because there are so many haters and everything, but people are going to police like you only have 3 blog posts and you launched. Oh my God, you should have 20 blog posts. Or like you just have a
Mhm.
header, but you keep using different fonts in your images. Oh no, you shouldn't have done that. It's like get over. Nobody is going to call you out on this stuff. You know what I mean? Like just
Yeah.
get out there and get done. And how many brands, I'm sure you know them too, like how many brands do you know that got X amount, X far, like really successful with like a landing, but like they didn't even have a list or they didn't have a
Mhm.
website. Like they just did Facebook and it's like there are no rules. It is what
Oh yeah.
you do, is what you make of it. And I know people that have done it every which way and been super successful. And I know people that have done it every which way and been massive fails.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah, I don't know how you're going to build an email list if you haven't started your website
well, how are you gonna get traffic if you don't start blogging? Like, what? Someone's just gonna search like your particular brand name in this big wide world of like you can barely find a .com left, and people are
yet.
just gonna find you and be like, "Oh my God, what are the chances?" Like, no, it's not gonna happen. Even after you have how many thousands of visitors on social media, it's still hard to get them to see your stuff. So,
Yeah.
get realistic and realize that there is like this whole movement of, success overnight or get rich quick, like lose it. It's not realistic. And if you're comparing yourself to other people, you are missing the 10 steps before you got into the
Mhm.
picture that you didn't see.
Right. There's always been examples of that way before the internet even,
Oh
was
yeah.
around.
Well, there's like infographics where it's like, J.K. Rowling was like denied 200
Yeah.
times and Bill Gates and all the struggles that these people went through and it's too easy to compare the good to your bad. And it's not
Yeah.
comparing apples to apples, but it's natural and we all do it. It's just that's where you have to kind of, and this is also what I think Gary was saying is like, put your head down and work. Like, stop comparing, stop being perfect, stop, like, just get your shit done and
Mhm.
then worry
Mhm.
about the other little stuff. I mean, there's too much comparison going on with all this floss on social media. And it's like
Right.
the hour that you spend going, this person got this, I'm never, or this person created this course and like I was going to do a course on the same topic and now I shouldn't do it because they got 500 people to buy it. It's like, just get your course done. Of course you can't sell it because you don't even have a course. So I think that's the other thing that he was saying is just like put your head down and work. Don't really worry about what anyone else is doing. Just do what you need to do and go from there. Because once you start
Yeah.
working, it will kind of organically tell you where you need to spend your time and investment.
Exactly. Now, Dre, for those who maybe they already have a few brands under their belt, they've been out there for a while, out in the spotlight, and they want to change their image. Some call it reinventing themselves or rebranding.
Hmm.
When it comes to personal branding, when should a blogger reinvent themselves?
I think that there's a disconnect. So anytime, so I have a lot of clients that come to me and it's like, it doesn't feel right, but it's like, do I really need to do this? If it feels disconnected to where you've gone, and a lot of times, like you said, these people who launched a year or two ago, you have evolved and maybe you didn't know what you knew 2 years ago, or maybe what you
Mm-hmm.
created, like I said, you found your legs, you found the right target market, you found your sweet spot in your niche. And
Right.
now what you created is a disconnect, then it's time. It's time to invest. And it doesn't mean that it has to be from the ground up. There's always elements that you can save or reuse. And there's always a way to do things where, just like a house, like, okay, we'll do the bathroom first, and then we'll do the bedroom, and then we'll do the living room. There's a way to do that. But if you feel in your heart and soul that there's a disconnect or you have shame, like you're embarrassed to release stuff because you're just like, this is just not good, then it's time. It's time to make an investment. And a lot of times you didn't have any investment at the beginning. So, it's natural that after 2 years, it's time to now devote time to your personal brand. And it also goes to the level of professionalism. I mean, let's be honest, when the brand is evolved, you see consistency, you see style. There's a perception that you can be taken more seriously. So when you get to a certain point, I think it should be expected that it's time to reinvent, rebrand, polish up, whatever it is that you want to call it.
Hmm. Dre, you have one of the best Google Plus cover photos I've ever seen.
Thank you. But
It's really
but
awesome.
see, that's just again, that's I want you to know, like this is me. Like how could you take that many pictures in totally different settings? Like those are like over the course of years at parties, at like
Right.
selfie, you couldn't possibly be that silly and ridiculous consistently if that wasn't really me. So again, that's my whole thing of
Yeah.
like, I swear it's me, people.
Yeah. If you, the listener, have not seen it, be sure to check out Dre's Google Plus profile. I'll go ahead and link to it in the show notes.
Nice.
You obviously had a lot of fun with that.
Oh yeah. And to me that was like for again it was showing the more personal side than like putting a guide cover on there, or like
Mm,
subscribe to my list. And you hang out on Google Plus. I think it's a
mm,
different beast. Like it's really about relationship building on Google Plus. It's really about
mm.
people connecting with people. And so when they go to it, it's like I don't want to say like opt into the list. It's like this is Dre. And again, pretty immediately you can be like, this chick is just out there and I can't take her seriously, or I want to know a little bit more. She looks fun.
Definitely is the case with that cover photo. So, Dre, we're now to the closing question that I ask all my guests.
Nice. Hit me with,
Yeah. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Dre, how has blogging changed your life?
It honestly, that is what helped me find my voice. Being able to consistently write, there's twofold. It's changed my life because it really did help me find my voice and it really helped me embrace what that was. If you read the articles from the beginning to the articles now, you can really see my evolution in my voice. And two,
Mm,
it has been a huge relationship builder. So I feature a lot. That's the other thing about my brand is that I try not to make things about me. Like I love featuring other people. I love, giving kudos and shouting out and showering people with love. And, it is twofold because I would rather talk about other people and show other people's examples than be like, this is how I did it and this is my stuff and isn't it so great? But twofold, it's opened doors to be able to start conversations with some of my idols and mentors and some people that I didn't know how to approach. Like, how do I approach them? What do I just like
yeah.
start, kissing their butt on social media? Like, how do you start a conversation with these people? Well, featuring
Mm,
them and showering them with love in my posts has helped. So, and it's also helped me create my content style. That's the third thing. Like, I'm not a writer. I am on the visual side of things when it comes to how I like to teach and how I like to put content together. And blogging was kind of like my laboratory. And it was like I would do a blog like this and I'd be like, nah, I don't really like that. And I would find my style when it came to content, and how to write, sales copy and how to write landing pages and how to write blog posts and that kind of thing. So to be honest, I'm not a huge blogger. Like I don't identify with being a blogger, but blogging
Mm-hmm.
itself, I will give a ton of credit to where I've come since I launched the branded solopreneur at the end of 2014. Without blogging, I don't think I would be half as far as I am. It's like I said, I think of it as my laboratory. It's where I test things out. It's where I pour my heart and soul. It's where I've been able to connect with people.
Dre, if people want to follow you, where can they connect with you?
I'm pretty much a little bit everywhere, but my main hangout spots now are Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and I am Dre Beltrami on all of them. Um, and I have my private Facebook group, the Badass Solopreneur Society, and that is really like I call it our lounge. Like that's where happy hour is. That's where I hang out. That's my little slice
Yeah.
of it. It's my virtual lounge for all my peeps. But pretty
Mm-hmm.
much everywhere, just search Dre Beltrami and I'll probably pop up at a certain point. But Instagram and Twitter and Facebook are where I really spend my time. Every other platform, it might, it might LinkedIn, it might take me 2 months to get back to you. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
pop on there. But yeah, definitely search me out, give me a holler, and shoot any questions my way. I'm one of those approachable people that will actually message you back. So if you guys have questions, lob them my way, and I will lob an answer right back your way.
Sounds great. Dre, it's been awesome having you on the Blog Chronicles today.
I know it's been in the works for a while. We had to cancel, so I'm so glad that we were able to make
Yeah.
this happen. I've been looking forward. I
Yeah.
had you on my show, and I was super stoked to be able to be on yours. So thank you for hosting me, and let me know how this test went. And don't hold it against him, guys, if the foul mouth is not for you.
All right. I'll let you know what the feedback
I
is.
want to
And
know.
we'll keep you posted, Dre.
Sounds good.
Thanks for tuning in to this issue of the Blog Chronicles. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe on YouTube or iTunes and leave a rating or review to help other bloggers find us. If you want to chat, look me up on Twitter at Matt Loomis. In the next episode, we'll be talking with 18-year-old Mark Gibberti, who started his first online business in middle school. His story powerfully demonstrates that when it comes to internet success, there are no age restrictions. He's earning income and helping other teens tap into their entrepreneurial dreams too, while attending school. We'll find out how he does it on the next episode of the Blog Chronicles.